Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we are talking about the do's and don'ts of joining Grad chapter. Now I had to write down some notes because I'm a nerd, so I had to write it down. But I hope that you guys find this video helpful and you like this content. Don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button. And once you hit the subscribe button, don't forget to hit the bell so that you don't miss any notifications from me. If you guys have been watching my videos for a while and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to be producing videos for a minute. It's fall semester, it's intake semester, August is here, it's my birthday month, and school's about to get back started, which means more Greek stuff, which means more Greek content. So if you guys want to keep rocking with me, just hit the subscribe button and enjoy this video. Let's do the don'ts first and then we'll talk about the do's. The first don't that I would recommend to you guys is don't think that you have to be in grad school to join a graduate chapter. Graduate/alumni chapter, which we traditionally use the word alumni chapter because it's for people who've already received their 4-year degrees. Now with my sorority, we have regional membership where you can be in the process of joining or be in the process of earning your bachelor's degree, and you can join as a regional member versus joining as an undergrad or a grad chapter. So once you get your 4-year degree, we'll consider you a graduate member, but we'll talk about that some other time. I just want to put that out there. But if you're interested in joining a graduate chapter, do not think of it as you have to be in grad school. You don't. It only means that you need to already have a 4-year degree by the time you're interested in joining the organization. The second don't that I would recommend not doing is not to think of joining grad chapter as the same as joining undergrad. They're two totally different environments, the same process but different environments. With grad chapter, if you want to know the difference between the two, watch my grad chapter versus undergrad video. But basically the difference between the two is you're dealing with working people with professions versus people who are in school and are younger. With graduate chapter members, we are more professional because we have jobs. You have military members, you have wives, you have housewives, you have career women. Like, it's a different blend of people who are always working versus undergrad, where we have a lot more free time. Things have to be scheduled based off people's availability on campus. It's just two totally different environments. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about joining a graduate chapter. The environment is totally different. The process is the same because it's under the same umbrella of the organization. So it's not going to be a different process in undergrad than what it would be in grad chapter. Everyone has the same process. It's just you're dealing with different environments. With graduate chapter, you're dealing with people who have to base their schedule off of people's availability before or after work. Majority of the time you're going to dedicate your weekends to being in your organization, versus undergrad you can dedicate any day of the week because you're predominantly on your campus at all times. Graduate chapter usually have their own house, so meetings are conducted at their house or whatever place that they decide to meet at, versus undergrad, which is predominantly either at a graduate house where the graduate members are allowing them to host their meeting, or it's done somewhere on campus. It has to be done in a public place with undergrad. The third don't that I would recommend with joining a graduate chapter is don't wait on someone to introduce you. And we'll talk about that when I talk about the do's. But the reason why I say don't wait on someone to introduce you is because with graduate chapter, you're dealing with adults. Our social events are different from undergraduate events. In undergrad, they are more into discretion than grad chapter is, because in undergrad there are more people watching you. Like, you have a whole campus looking to see what you're doing, versus graduate chapter, it's just you and the organization, because the organization is not on a campus. The organization has their own house, so they don't really have to worry about discretion unless you just don't want the people around you to know, like family and friends. Graduate chapter isn't really worried about discretion because they're already off to the side on their own, so they don't really have to worry about other organizations in their area worrying about who they're bringing in or things like that, because we don't see each other as often unless it's a organized organizational event like Greek Fest or something like that. So don't worry about discretion if you're joining a graduate chapter. Don't wait on someone to introduce you. Introduce yourself. You can go directly to the vice president. We'll talk about that in a second, but don't worry about discretion so much if you're joining a graduate chapter. The last thing that I would recommend not doing that kind of coincide together is don't attend an event unless you've been invited. With graduate chapter, it's very similar to undergrad in the effect that you have to be invited to join. And it's different for every organization. For my organization, yeah, you have to be invited, but at the same time, if we've met you and we know you, that's your invitation. Some people are more formal, some organizations are more formal than that, but don't attend an event unless you've been invited or unless it's open to the public, because we won't know who you are and we won't know why you're there. So some things that the organizations do is solely for the organization, and we won't post about it. We won't let other people know. So if someone in the organization tells you about it and you come, that's probably not a good idea, because if it's not open to the public, then it probably means that you're not allowed to be there. And then with that, if you are a part of, or if you are invited, if you're general public and you are invited, if you're interested in joining the organization, don't wear the organization's colors or anyone else's colors, because it's just a thing that we don't like. So try to stick to neutral colors or somewhere along the spectrum of our colors, but not exactly our colors, because you don't want to offend anybody. Every organization is different. Some people care, some people don't, but just to be safe, don't wear that organization's colors or any organization similar, because you don't want them to get the wrong impression of you. Now that we got the don'ts out of the way, let's talk about the do's. Do reach out to the vice president if you're interested in joining an organization. And I say that because, like I said in the beginning, discretion isn't really a big deal when you're joining graduate chapters. Discretion is more of an undergraduate thing. So if you are interested in an organization in your area and you don't really know how to attend their events, or you don't know where their events are located, go ahead and reach out to the vice president. And I say the vice president because the vice president is the membership chair. Or if you know someone in the chapter, feel free to ask them. Make sure that it's open to the public, or make sure if it's a interested members event that you're on the list of being invited, and attend those events. I recommend doing that because it's a lot easier to find out what's going on in your area if you just go to the source. A lot of graduate chapter members don't have up-to-date social media websites. Like I said, we're dealing with working people, so managing a social media account might not be at the top of their list. Their websites might not always be up to date because they're busy doing other things. So just make sure that you have a source, a point of contact that you can reach out to know when things are going on, so that you can attend those events. Which brings me to my next point. Attend the events that you're actually invited to. Go to those events. Don't wear the colors, but go to those events. Interact with people. If you're nervous, just go to your point of contact that you spoke to in the first place. It's good to put a face to the name sometimes when you're dealing with organizations, especially when you're dealing with joining sororities. Like, we'll talk to people all day long. Me especially, I'll talk to someone all day long on social media, and then they'll come out to an event and I'll be like, oh yeah, you're so-and-so, you messaged me, nice to meet you. So it's good to put a name to the face. So make sure that you attend the events, make sure that you interact, and if you can, try to get one or two other people's contact information that you can be in contact with, so that you don't have to solely go to that one person that you know. It's good to get to know all the members of the chapter that you're interested in, but if you know one or two or three, that'll be helpful too, because you'll just have another perspective on things and you'll have another person to go to for information. The number one person's contact that you should have at all times if you're interested in joining an organization is the vice president, because that's the person who's in charge of intake. My third do for if you're interested in joining grad chapter is to ask questions. Now, with dealing with the intake process itself, I don't think that it's necessary to ask questions about, well, how long is your process? What's the deadline for getting all this done? You don't typically ask those type of questions. With every organization has a schedule. That's what makes us similar to undergrad as well, because like I said, we are under the same umbrella of the organization, so everyone follows the same rules in terms of the intake process. But I do not think that it's wise to ask questions such as, when are we going to be done and how long is the process? That's not necessarily something that you can worry about, or you should worry about. One thing that your vice president is always going to do is keep you in the loop. So when you have meetings, it's good to know the dates for the meetings versus the date when you guys are going to be done, so that you'll know how to plan your schedule, because we are dealing with working people. So ask questions in those regards. You can also ask questions about the organization themselves. You can ask the graduate chapter members why they joined graduate chapter. You can ask if they joined in graduate chapter, if they joined in undergrad. Like, ask questions that you think will help you gain a better perspective of the organization and gain a better perspective of the chapter that you're interested in, because I always tell you guys, research the graduate chapter as well. Like, do not just join an organization in grad chapter because you didn't join in undergrad, so you're going to join in grad chapter and you know absolutely nothing about the grad chapter. Research the chapter just like you would research the organization, and that will help you with your decision process as well. Fourth piece of advice that I can offer you guys is to save your money. Graduate chapter is more expensive than undergrad. I can give an explanation why, but I'm pretty sure I have in my other videos before. Just watch that video, but make sure you save your money. Grad chapter has events just like undergraduate do. Grad chapter has parties just like undergraduates do. There's always a social going on. I think each fiscal sorority year you're probably looking at maybe one highlighted event per quarter you're probably looking at with graduate chapter. So that's probably 4 social events that you have to absolutely make sure you have money for. There's Founders Day events, there's Charter Day events, there's I don't know, programs that they want to put out there for people, things like that. So make sure you save your money not only for the intake process but for whatever events come thereafter. Last and final piece of advice is actually a 2-part advice. Have an open mind when you're joining graduate chapter. Graduate chapter is similar to undergrad with allowing probates. I know that I said in the past that grad chapter don't do probates, but I've learned from my experience in graduate chapter is that we do have probates, we do have neophyte presentations. I do have a couple on my channel if you guys want to know what they're about, but graduate chapter absolutely do have probates. We do have stroll offs. We do all those things that you guys didn't think that grad chapter would do because we're dealing with older people. They act just like undergrad in that regard. So especially if you're looking at competitions and things like that, graduate chapter participates. So make sure that you do participate in those things that are going on, and make sure that you have an open mind, because you're probably going to be required to have a neophyte presentation and they want you to stroll and they want you to step, and you can't say that you don't want to do those things. Watch my video on things you don't say to your DP because you wanted to join this organization. So you have to do what everyone else does, otherwise you'd be like the oddball who doesn't want to participate in everything. So make sure that you're participating, make sure that you have an open mind, be open to the experience, because grad chapter intake process is different because you're looking at a different perspective on sorority life. You're dealing with older people, and it's going to introduce you to some new people, and you're going to be introduced to a new way of doing things. Every chapter isn't the same, and every organization is definitely not the same, so you're going to be looking at different experiences anyway. So just be open to it, be open to new people's ideas, be open to old people's ideas, respect your elders, respect your prophytes, respect the people who are joining with you, and just be open to the experience, because you never know what it will teach you. So I hope that you guys enjoyed my do's and don't video. I hope that you like and subscribe. If you guys want more videos, or if you have videos that you think that I should put up, please let me know. Follow me on my social. Instagram is KelsTells. Twitter, I'm pretty sure it's KelsTells. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my Facebook page, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.